You've heard the story of the woman in white, weeping by the river for the children she mourns. What if the tale you know is only the beginning? The ghost haunting the riverbanks of Mexico City isn't always the same spirit feared in the deserts of Chihuahua or the highlands of Guatemala tonight. We're uncovering 7 different faces of La Llorona, and some are far more terrifying than you can imagine. Intro. The legend of La Llorona, the weeping woman, is a cornerstone of folklore all through Mexico and Latin America. The version everyone knows goes like this. A beautiful woman named Maria gets abandoned by her lover, and in a fit of rage, she drowns her own children in a river. When she realizes what she's done, she drowns herself, but is denied entry into the afterlife. So, she's condemned to wander the earth forever, wailing for her lost sons. Ay, mis hijos. It's a terrifying story, the kind you tell kids to keep them from wandering off in the dark. That's just the most famous version. Buried in oral traditions are regional secrets that reveal a far more complex and ancient terror. Each one paints a different picture of her, shifting her from a simple ghost into something much more. So, let's pull back the curtain on this legend to reveal 7 of its darkest secrets. Secret 1. The acoustic deception. Let's start with the first secret, which messes with the one thing you'd trust in the dark, your own ears. When you think of a ghost, you imagine its cries getting louder as it gets closer. With La Llorona, the opposite is true. According to the legend, if her wails sound faint and far away, she is dangerously close, maybe right behind you. But if her cries are loud and clear, she's actually far off. This cruel trick is one of her most horrifying weapons. It creates a disorienting dread, a supernatural bait and switch that confuses her victims. Imagine you're lost near a river and you hear a faint, mournful cry. Your instinct says the danger is far away, giving you a false sense of security. You might even feel a pang of pity for that distant, sorrowful soul. But that pity is a trap. The faintness of her cry is the real warning. It's the sign that she is already upon you. It's a terrifying mind game that makes escape nearly impossible because your own senses are leading you straight into her trap. Secret 2. The vengeful seductress. Secret number 2. La Llorona isn't just a threat to kids. While she's famous for snatching children, she mistakes for her own. In many regional tellings, her rage is aimed squarely at men. In these versions, La Llorona is a vengeful seductress, a phantom who preys on lone men near the water at night, especially those who are unfaithful. She appears as a beautiful, sorrowful woman, often in white, her face hidden by long, dark hair. Intrigued, a man might approach her to offer comfort, drawn in by her mysterious allure. But as he gets closer, the beautiful illusion shatters. She might reveal a skull, or even the face of a horse, and her grief turns to monstrous rage. In these encounters, her goal isn't to find her children, but to get revenge for the betrayal she suffered. She becomes a symbol of righteous female anger, a supernatural enforcer of justice against men who wrong women. This transforms her from a grieving mother into a calculated predator whose sorrow has curdled into a specific and lethal form of vengeance. Secret 3. The Aztec Harbinger. For our third secret, we have to dig way back before the Spanish ever set foot in the Americas. La Llorona's roots go much deeper than the colonial story of a scorned woman. Many scholars believe she's directly linked to Aztec deities, especially a goddess named Cihuacoatl, or Snake Woman. Cihuacoatl was a powerful earth and fertility goddess, often depicted in white, who roamed the night, weeping and wailing. According to accounts in the 16th century Florentine Codex, a wailing woman was one of the 10 omens that foretold the fall of the Aztec Empire. She was heard crying over the temples of Tenochtitlan, lamenting the fate of her children with the words, "Oh, my children, we are about to go forever." In this pre-Hispanic context, La Llorona isn't the ghost of a single mortal woman. She's a divine harbinger of doom, a goddess warning her people of a catastrophe. Her cries aren't for 2 drowned kids, but for an entire civilization on the brink of collapse. This secret reframes the entire legend, turning a personal tragedy into a story of epic national trauma, the weeping of a goddess for her entire world. Secret 4. The Ghost of La Malinche. The 4th secret is probably the most politically charged. The idea that La Llorona is the ghost of La Malinche. La Malinche, or Malintzin, was an enslaved indigenous woman who became the translator, advisor, and concubine to the Spanish conquistador, Hernan Cortés. She gave birth to his son, Martín, who's often called one of the first mestizos, a person of mixed indigenous and Spanish heritage. In one powerful version of the origin story, when Cortés planned to go back to Spain, he was going to take their son, but leave her behind. In a fit of despair and rage at this ultimate betrayal, she is said to have drowned their son. This act directly links her to the infanticide in La Llorona's legend. The connection is profound because La Malinche is one of the most controversial figures in Mexican history, seen as both the mother of a new nation and a traitor who helped conquer her own people. When you see La Llorona as La Malinche, her cries carry the weight of colonial history. Her search for her lost child becomes a metaphor for the violent birth of modern Mexico and the massive loss of indigenous culture. She weeps not just for a son, but for a people's lost identity. Secret 5. The Guatemalan Tale of Shame. As we move outside Mexico, legend keeps shifting. Our 5th secret takes us to Guatemala, where the story takes on a different moral focus, one deeply tied to social shame. In the Guatemalan version, the woman isn't always abandoned. Often, she's trying to hide a forbidden affair. To conceal her sin and her illegitimate child from her husband or the community, she drowns the infant. After her death, she's condemned to wander, eternally searching for the son she sacrificed to protect her reputation. This variation emphasizes the crushing weight of social judgment. The horror here isn't about spurned love, but about the desperate things people do to avoid public disgrace. This telling is a potent cautionary tale, a stark warning about prioritizing social standing over human life, and her cries become a symbol of inescapable guilt. Secret 6. Venezuela's Voice of Collective Grief. Secret number 6 takes us to Venezuela, where the story changes from a personal tragedy into a national cry of grief. In some tellings here, La Llorona isn't necessarily a mother who killed her own children instead. She is the spirit of a woman who died of sorrow after. Her children were murdered, either by her own family or due to the widespread violence of the colonial era. In this powerful retelling, La Llorona becomes a symbol of collective grief. She represents the sorrow for all the innocent children lost to colonial brutality and suffering. Her wails are not just for her own kids, but for generations of murdered children whose deaths go unmourned. This version of the legend acts as a container for historical trauma, allowing a community to process and remember the violence inflicted upon it. She is the voice for the voiceless, a wandering memorial to the horrors of the past. To this day, some families in the Venezuelan plains place wooden crosses above their doors to ward off her sorrowful spirit. Secret 7. The feminist icon of resistance. The final secret isn't ancient. It's a modern reinterpretation that's changing how we see the weeping woman today. For centuries, the legend was used as a tool of patriarchal control, a story warning women against passion or disobedience. Maria was framed as a monster, punished for her emotions. Now, contemporary Chicana feminist writers are flipping the script on La Llorona, turning her from a figure of shame into a symbol of resistance. In this new light, her rage isn't madness. It's a justified response to male betrayal and oppression. Her horrific act of infanticide is re-examined as an act of ultimate defiance in a world where she has no other power. A tragic refusal to let the man who ruined her life also take her children. Her eternal wandering is no longer a punishment, but a relentless protest. She becomes a powerful figure who refuses to be silenced, her wails a constant, haunting reminder of female suffering and resilience. This reclamation turns a ghost into a radical icon, a woman who owns her rage and whose story now fuels conversations about gender, power, and justice. So, in conclusion, from a phantom who plays tricks on your ears to an Aztec goddess foretelling the ruin of an empire, La Llorona is so much more than a simple ghost story. She's a seductress avenging wronged women, the spirit of a historical mother grappling with colonial betrayal, and a symbol of national grief for entire communities. The legend's ability to absorb the fears, histories, and moral codes of different regions is the true secret to its power. She is a reflection of the darkness that lurks not just by the water, but within human history itself. Grief, rage, oppression, and resistance. Whether you see her as a monster, a victim, or a revolutionary icon, her wail remains a haunting part of the cultural landscape, forever echoing through the night. The story of La Llorona is a living piece of folklore, and there are countless versions I couldn't cover. That's where you come in. What version of La Llorona did you grow up hearing? Does your family or region have a unique twist on her story? Share your tales in the comments below. Let's keep the oral tradition alive and explore even more secrets of the weeping woman together.